My name is Allison Berardi, and I am the general manager here at the Hivery, and I love working here, and I want to welcome you all. I want to tell you that we have amazing memberships. We have community memberships, we have co-working memberships, and we also sell day passes. So if you have any interest in any of that, you can talk to me after. I wanted to introduce Khadija Yansane. She's actually on our staff here at the Hivery, and she actually works with our founder in one of our signature programs called the Incubator. She's assisting with that program, and she's also going to be spearheading a new coaching program that we're going to be offering here at the Hivery. So we're very, very excited. She's an amazing coach. She works with women, and she wants to make sure that you're not only on purpose and in alignment with what you are here to do, but that you're also going to get paid. And she's done a lot of work digitally with her coaching, online. You can check out her website, Bloom Into You. And we're just so lucky to have her here on staff, imparting her wisdom. And we have Queen Secrets to Client Creation today. So, thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction and for spending your lunch with me, with us. And just to give you an outline so you know what to expect, we're going to just take a moment to ground and get here. I know some of you have food. We're going to do an icebreaker just so that we can land in the room together before I share some content. And then there'll be an opportunity to have some partnered sharing along with group sharing. And if it feels like a fit to go deeper together, I'll let you know what my ongoing work looks like. And it's my intention that we just have fun, play, connect, and explore these themes that we'll be talking about when it comes to client creation. And hi, Facebook Live. Say hi, Facebook Live. Hi. So I'm just going to invite you to stand up for a moment. I think it's always, we're busy. You're working, maybe you drove to get here. And let's just give ourselves a chance to land. So I'm going to invite you to shake your left leg. Shake it like a dog. Let the fleas go. And right leg. Right arm. And just really let any stress or tension melt. And then your left arm. Shake your shoulders. Go as far down as you can. Or not far at all. Coming back up. Don't forget to breathe. And last time. And you're going to take your arms up. And down. And again. And down. And again. Just a little shake. With your eyes closed. Until your body comes to a place of rest. Placing one hand on your heart. Another hand on your belly. Feeling your feet firmly rooted in the ground. Drawing up the energy of the earth. Standing tall. Shoulders back. Head up. Letting go of your day. Letting go of your to-do list. Arriving in this now moment with curiosity and openness. And for whatever messages that want to come through specifically for you. going to take 3 nice deep breaths with a sigh on the exhale. Inhaling now. Again. And again. With your hands on your body, giving thanks, gratitude, and appreciation for all that you do. All that you do. And when you're ready, you're going to gently open your eyes and just quietly notice who else is in the room as you take your seat. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Awesome. So we're just going to do, did you say better? Good. Our breath is right there. And we're holding it in all day. Put your toys away. I got a to-do list. And your breath is right there. Even if it's just one deep cleansing breath. So we're just going to do a quick icebreaker. I'm going to ask you a prompt, and you're going to say the first thing that comes to mind. I promise you there's no right answer. It's just for us to get a sense of who's in the room. So we're going to go like this. Make sense? Okay. My name is
Kristen.
Chris.
Lee.
Allison.
Rachel.
Diane.
Allie.
Darby.
Marina.
Agnes.
Nicole.
Laura.
Rebecca.
Anita.
Monica. Carrie. Katie. Lisa.
Allie.
Cindy.
Kim.
I came here today because
Community. Learning.
Knowledge.
I think Kadisha's awesome. Yeah, because I really love and support you.
Wanted to break out.
I need clients.
Curiosity and clients.
Groups.
Needed you. Clients.
Collaboration.
Connect.
Wanting to know more about you and also clients.
To learn more.
Learning.
To see what you were going to present on this topic.
Deal.
To see what you were going to present and to attract more aligned clients.
Enrolling clients.
Learn the main secrets.
Support.
my business is
I'm an attorney for women and heart-led businesses.
I'm a family law attorney.
I'm a writer and analyst.
I'm a business consultant.
College consultant.
Helping individuals tell their stories through video biographies.
Coaching and transformation.
Interior design for transitional people, including senior. Sexuality and women's empowerment coach.
Body work and light work.
Fashion stylist and artist.
I teach mindfulness-based emotional intelligence in business.
I'm a stylist. I do one-day wardrobe makeovers for women and men.
I'm in the very, very, very earliest stages of developing an audio interview.
I do public relations for innovative companies that have emerging brands.
I teach art and help people get in touch with their creativity and also where they want to go in life.
I work as a journalist and also a ghostwriter and strategist for companies and also publications.
I am a multifaceted entrepreneur and a business
separating yourself from others in the field?
Right now, since I have way more work than I can handle. So I'll pass on that.
Yeah, I would pass on that one too.
Finding each other.
Finding people that are willing to go beyond thinking it's a good idea, but to actually hire me.
I'm putting myself out there. Figuring out which my clients are.
Really communicating that it's safe to talk about and address our sexuality issues in a very deep way.
Mindfully connecting.
I think I relate with putting yourself out there.
Yeah, putting myself out there all the time.
Discussing why they need my help.
Identifying early which would be the most lucrative and promising markets, and then pitching them to be part of my prototype.
I have such a long list. Balancing it with the current client load, doing the development work with doing the work that I already have, setting expectations on costs and service, and identifying whether they're a fit in terms of what I want, but also in do they actually need what I'm offering? And they think they do, but I'm not really sure if they do.
Getting them to find out about Spark Studio.
I find the biggest challenge is the intersection between value and price and alignment.
Ditto.
Okay. Hi, Janet. Hi. You can totally pass, but the question is, what would you say is the hardest part about finding clients? I'll pass for that. Sure. And last one, what I love about my work is?
I love working with other women, just people who I've wanted to see stepping into leadership roles in their industry and helping make sure that they're understanding that what they're creating is worthy of protecting legally from the start or 5 years in, whenever they do get around to that.
Helping people resolve issues during one of the most traumatic experiences of their lives.
Helping companies make their workplaces better for applicants and employees.
I love solving problems, I love driving revenue, and I love really seeing people and getting them in the right spot in the organization.
And I enjoy most empowering high school kids to see their passion can be put out into the world.
Helping families tell their stories, but then also preserve them so that their children and grandchildren know where they came from.
I love having a bigger vision for my clients than they can see for themselves and really carrying them through that transformation.
What I love is making people enjoy where they are and where they're living.
Say that last part again?
Where they're living.
Where they're living.
I just love, it's a deep honor and privilege to witness the blossoming of the inner power that women have in their ability to create pleasure and a beautiful life for themselves.
What's the question again?
What you love most about the work you do?
Surrendering to limitless transformation.
I guess it's a tie between helping people feel good about themselves and also the selfish part of having my own freedom.
This is the most authentic work I've ever done. It uses all of me, and it's also really beneficial.
Giving my clients liberation and confidence.
I'm genuinely curious about a lot of different things, and I love engaging people in conversation, and kind of natural. It feels natural, and so it can create connection and value for other people, in in doing that?
Yeah, my work lets me glimpse the future, which is really exciting to see behind the scenes about what's coming. And also I get to work with a really fun business partner.
I love making art because it makes me feel really alive, and I love seeing people connect to their own creativity and get them to feel the same thing, feel really alive.
I love the human connection of my job. I talk to people for a living and report on what I hear, and so just kind of convincing people that their story matters.
I would say the same. People connection, I think just holding space. Like nutrition, there's so much you can do, but just to give somebody that human support is love that.
Yeah, I love enriching people's lives and igniting the divine spark in people.
I get to work with super smart, visionary people who are invested in changing the world and bringing everybody's voice to the table.
What do you do? Then you weren't here because we had to say.
Oh, I do work around the neuroscience of gender and diversity.
I like the feeling of having a difference for the planet.
I really enjoy working with empowering and strong women and working for an organization that does good.
Raise your hand, take a nice deep breath first. There's an incredible group of women in here, right? Like, raise your hand if you felt moved by someone's why. I know I did. I know I'm not alone in that. And I wasn't even intending to go this route, but you just even sharing your why and what it means to you is so impactful. You know, just as I was hearing, I'm like, just the way you describe leaving a legacy for your children, you're like, oh, what does she do? Is it photo albums? Is it what? You know, that tapping into the power that you have as a woman, or making people feel really great about themselves. It has you lean in, and when people know your why first before you're selling them what you need, it makes such a huge difference. Like, I don't know if you can feel it, but the room feels really warm and open to me. Well, I'd love to tell you about me. So as I said, if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Khadija Yansani. I'm a proud Hivery team member. I'm also a business coach. And I've coached and consulted with dozens of Fortune 500 companies, like some of the ones listed up here: Visa, Charles Schwab, Clorox, and Robert Half. And one of the things that I did in my job, or have done in my job as a communications coach, is work with leaders to improve their presentation skills. And one of the things that we would use is video feedback. And so my job would be to look at what they're doing well and look at their areas of improvement. And the first question I would ask them is, what did you like about what you saw? And 9 times out of 10, when I was talking to a woman, she would start with what she didn't like. She didn't like her voice. She didn't like her weight. She didn't like what she was wearing, or she thought she was more confident. Not all the time. But it really, really impacted me because I don't have a corporate background and was initially intimidated being in corporate America, and I was so stunned that all these people that people are looking at as leaders, as managing big teams, that in a room, when we're just looking at their video, there's this lingering question of, am I enough? And I'm worried that other people are judging me or thinking I'm a bitch for just simply doing my job. And I think this applies whether you work in corporate America or whether you have your own business. Like, am I enough? I know when I first started doing videos, it was so hard for me to hear my voice. And my partner would be like, Khadija, you just need to have a meditation of listening to your voice and seeing yourself on video so that you could get comfortable. I can do it now, but it was so painful for me in the beginning. I've worked directly with top 7-figure leaders like Mama Gina and Nicole Deadone. One of the things that I learned working with Mama Gina, her name's Regina Thomas Shower. She is a best-selling New York Times author. At the time that I worked with her, she was not there yet. But one of the things that I did for her was to enroll for her courses. And I was really enthusiastic about the work that she did. And she gave me a list. She's like, Khadija, I want you to call all these people. was like, okay. She's like, I want you to flirt with them. I'm like, all right. And so before you get like, what does she mean by that? Her definition of flirting was enjoying yourself in the company of another person. I'm just gonna have a sip of water. If I was just talking to my best friend and I needed to take a sip of water, I would just take a sip of water, right? But as soon as we get up in front of a group of people, we feel like we can't just be natural and say, excuse me, I need to sneeze. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me, I need to take a drink of water. My mouth is dry. There's all these things that we feel like we have to be unnatural now that we're sharing our services or doing the work that we do. Anyway, back to Regina Thomas Shower. She's like, I want you to call this list and I want you to flirt with them. Her definition of flirting was enjoying yourself in the company of another person. And that doesn't necessarily mean someone that you're attracted to, someone that you want to be in a relationship with, but can we just be present without an agenda and just be who we are in front of another person? And so I learned that, and I did that, and I enrolled so many people in her courses because I was really excited about it. Nicole Deadone wrote a book called Slow Sex, and I did enrollment and registration. She has these huge coaching programs. And part of my job was to call people and enroll them into like these $10,000 programs. And so there's always this, I don't know, does anyone else fear getting on the phone to make sales calls? Not everyone, some people are really great at it. Talk to Allison. Because what Allison gets is that sales is about connection. That it's not like, I'm chasing you down, I'm gonna force you to buy something. It's like, you told me you want to lose weight. Oh my God, I think you'd love this and you would so not feel like you're starving yourself. So people who get that sales is about connection don't hate sales. People who don't, it can feel grimy, icky, and like you're forcing something on someone that they don't want. And I know no one in here wants that. Raise your hand if you don't want that. So back to Nicole Deadone, one of the things I learned from her, who she teaches this practice called orgasmic meditation, was how the quality of putting your attention on someone. Like you and I are having a conversation, if I'm on my phone, if I'm saying looking up, looking around, on Facebook, you don't feel like I'm really with you. But if I'm like with you, we're talking, have you ever had that experience where you're really trying to share with someone and they're distracted? So she talked about the level of attention and the importance of your turn on. Like I so notice the difference when I'm excited about a workshop and I'm putting it out there versus like I'm grinding, I'm gonna hit publish, I'm gonna hit post, I'm gonna do this. Like I just feel uncomfortable versus like when I get into the energy of like, oh my God, I want people to come. There's a huge difference. So flirtation, turn on, and the quality of our attention, because it's connection that matters first. Some things that I've helped my clients do, I've helped them do things like get their first $10,000 month. I think I'm gonna move this a little bit so I'm not to the side. I've helped them get their first and next paying clients, create and develop their profitable niche, because your niche is really just the thing that you love to do. It's your calling. I've helped them lead their first workshops, start and build their own communities. I feel like a lot of people that I attract, and I feel like if you're here at the Hivery, like you really place a high premium on community. I heard you mention that. Because so much happens just being in a group together. I've helped them charge more for their services. So some people have gone from like not charging anything. And I just want to give a shout out to Janet Crawford. Can you raise your hand? So I became a coach in 2007. And the coaching program, she organized and ran the coaching program that I went through. And that was in 2007. And I saw her in the Hivery incubator a few minutes ago, and I was like, she looks familiar, but I didn't quite put the pieces together. And then I realized, oh my gosh, she was my instructor for communications and coaching. And so here she is. So I've helped them charge more for their services. And one of the things we did in that program is they told us, this was 13 years ago. Yeah, 13 years ago. I can't believe it's crazy. You can't charge less than $25 an hour. There are people in the program who made lots of money in corporate America, but it's one thing when you work for another company, but then you're charging a person for your services. Sometimes it can feel different, right? And so they said, you have to charge at least $25 an hour. That was a stretch for me. It wasn't a stretch for everyone in the room because at that point, I don't think I had even earned more than $15 an hour. So I was like, $25? Who's gonna pay me to coach them for $25? Lots of people. I've also helped my clients package their offerings for higher profits and begin to position themselves as experts in their field. And I know a lot of people that I talk to don't like using the word expert. Raise your hand if you actually like the word expert. Okay, looks like about half the room. Half of you like the word expert, half of you don't. But the truth is that a lot of you do things that you've been doing for a long time, and it's just so natural to you, so you take it for granted. Like you feel like that's easy. But it's not easy for the people that you're helping. So for you, you might be like, orgasm's easy. Very. Raise your hand if you think you're an expert. Yeah. And for you, understanding the law might be really easy, but for others of us, we're just like, I fell asleep. Right? So I've led hundreds of workshops, events. These are some pictures from groups that I've done and from speaking gigs that I've had. The name of my business is bloomintoyou.com, and it's something that's been in my heart for years, even when I was in that program with Janet years ago. And I think starting and growing your business really is about blooming into who you are, right? Bringing all your gifts, skills, and talents together and sharing them. And I work with my clients using something called the Client Creation Queen program. And it's an 8-week program that helps people get paid, get clients, and live their sacred calling. Does anyone in here want to live their sacred calling? Some of you saw me put this summit together here at the Hivery. This was my project that I was working on in the Hivery Incubator. It was called the Ignite Your Money Muse Online Summit, and I interviewed about 24 leading experts in the coaching industry, which was such a joy. And we talked about money because so much about this topic is about fear of earning. Am I good enough? Are people going to pay? And all these judgments. And maybe some of you are fine getting paid, but maybe there's another level. You're like, well, I can accept $10,000, but I can't accept 12. Or I can accept, I can do that for free, but it's uncomfortable to charge. I'm also a mama. This is my family, my honey Mike. My son Khalil's turning 4 tomorrow, and my daughter's 5. I'm an active mom, so I get what it is to be cleaning up toys, doing laundry, and the endless question of like, what am I doing for dinner? Does anyone else know what they're going to do for dinner tonight? Oh my God. You're like, that's like a really long time away. I don't have to think about that. So I feel like I've done a lot of things right that I feel really proud of. And I also want to share with you the things that I feel like I've done wrong. And I don't even know if I want to call them wrong because it's just all a part of learning, right? So these are some things that I did. So one is that I would host women's groups. So I'm someone that has been a participant in women's groups. Is this the right time? Yeah. It is? Okay, just want to make sure. I've hosted women's groups for a really long time. And when I was starting my business, I had the idea to start hosting groups. But I did that, and I just would never make offers. I would never be like, this is how you can explore this further. And I've had several clients who I would say, how'd your group go? And they're great. Did you make an offer? Well, it didn't feel quite right. For a long time, I feel like people would lean in. At the time, I was calling myself a life coach. And people would lean in and be like, oh, that seems interesting. Or I could feel like they wanted something from me, but I didn't have a package or anything to offer them to say well, this is how we could work together more deeply. I did that for a long time. I've focused a lot of time on what I call, I want to be careful as I say this, but listen, non-income producing activities like tweaking my website, getting business cards made, and waiting and hoping people would just want to work with me. And what I mean by this is that I'm not saying that you don't need a website and that you don't need marketing materials, but sometimes people can get stuck down the rabbit hole. There are certain people who will put a time on it and say, okay, it's bothering me so bad I have to get a website. But literally, like I've had people, they've spent like a year, and then at the end, then they're like, I still don't know how to get clients. So I did that. That doesn't mean you don't need a website. It's valuable to have. I'm just saying you don't need to get lost in the rabbit hole in order to get paying clients. I waited for someone to tell me I was good enough and validate my business idea. I don't know if you look at friends to be like, what do you think about this? Or your family, what do you think about this? And any hint of not belief, you feel deflated. And you're like, well, maybe it's not such a great idea. This was a big one, waiting until I was confident enough, because for me it appeared that everyone seemed so confident and just it was easy for them to just put themselves out there. And so I just felt like something was wrong because I was feeling insecure, so I should wait. Maybe it's not right. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. And then, again, wait to overcome my fears and doubts. And then there'd be the fear of like, well, what if I start working with them and they're not happy with the result? Is anyone relating to any of this? So the bottom line being waiting for the right time, waiting for the right person, waiting for the right place, and waiting, and then years are going by. So I just told you my program was in 2007. And what year are we? 2020. So it didn't take me that long, but I'm just saying that there was a lot of waiting. And I see this and we all have different ways of waiting. And it could seem really like, well, it's because of the kids. I'm pregnant. The kids are small. The kids are teenagers. The kids are in college. The kids are getting married. So it's never ending, right? So now we're going to do an exercise called spring cleaning, where you're going to partner with the person next to you. And partner A is going to ask partner B a question over and over again. Kristen, can I just sample with you for just a minute? Sure. So the question is, what do you have on mistakes? So I'm going to ask you, you're going to answer, then I'm going to say thank you. Okay? What do you have on mistakes? So basically, it's anything that comes to mind. Anything that comes to mind, there's no answer. And if you don't have an answer, you could simply say, I got nothing. And then I'll say thank you. What do you have on mistakes?
Well, I made a video yesterday and then I deleted it. And then you later saw something that I did end up putting up. But it was because my head was getting the best of me.
Thank you. What do you have on mistakes?
Waiting until everything was absolutely perfect to launch.
Thank you. So we'll just stop there. So you're just going to ask them over and over, what do you have on mistakes? Thank you. What do you have on mistakes? Thank you. If you have nothing, just say, I don't have anything. Thank you. What do you have on mistakes? We're only going to do it for 2 minutes. So partner with the person to the left or right of you. And then I'll play a little bit of music, and then I'll let you know when it's time to switch.
Do you want to work together before? Do you want to work together? Are you already working with someone? No, we didn't work together. You want to work together? But then your experience is good enough. Okay. Hi, I'm Chris. How are you? One person for the next minute. How do you get rid of realizing the changes that I've maybe go back. Maybe stay like higher.
Welcome back, everyone. It's all good being here. I kind of want to. I just want to hear from like 3 people, okay? If anyone has anything to share about what they learned, experienced in that short dialogue. Yes.
I'll share because I was late particularly. So hi everyone, my name is Rookie Tajani and I am the founder of a law firm, a virtual law firm called Firm for the Culture, which is a firm designed to help social entrepreneurs trademark their brands and scale their impact. And the thing that really came out in our conversation was the ability to kind of move past what I think are very personal attacks on me. My services, I do like understand the value of my services. I do understand what I give people, but it might not necessarily be articulated to the people that may inquire about the services. So sometimes their inquiries might seem like personal jabs at me. So I think the opportunity for growth is just saying, okay, this is simply one of the things like Coach told me is like take a 24-hour break and not answer the email immediately. because I have, and it hasn't. I probably should have taken 48 hours a day in one particular circumstance, but take 24 hours and kind of just like unpack what is showing up in the conversation and ways that I can move forward to have a really, really effective result for all of us.
Thank you. Yeah, Laura. There was so much resonance, so much common humanity. I was really touched by it. Without saying anything specific, I just felt so much resonance.
Yeah, thank you.
My partner and I are in vastly different fields, and yet she went first, and everything she said, I was like, ditto, 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 ditto.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Janet, I know you raised your hand. Did you want to say
It
something?
was the same thing.
Okay.
And just, how many of us, I look at other people and I'm like, oh, like, I'm struggling with all this stuff, and nobody else around here is to the degree that I am, and then, you hear your own voice in somebody else.
Yeah, it's so powerful. Such the value of being in circles of women, being in communities of women, and having these conversations. And Grace says all the time, talk to each other, ask people how much they're charging, like beginning to open the dialogue, because when you see you're not alone and that other people are dealing with it too, then you feel more courageous and empowered to take your next steps. This is going so fast, you guys. All right. So I just want to share a few things that I feel like I've learned since I started my coaching program so many years ago. So that one is that paying clients are closer than you think. Oftentimes you're thinking like, I need to be way out there. I need to get like 10 steps out of my circle, right? And that one of the practices that I have people do in my program is like, look at where, if you are already getting clients, like look at where you're already getting them from. And it's like when you have that hard data to see, it's like, I know for myself, I was like, oh wow, more of them I met in some type of capacity, whether it was in person or online, like there was some type of touch point. And so clients are way closer than you think. I've learned that you don't have to have a large email list and following to get paying clients, because that's sometimes something that people bump up against. It's like, I don't have a large following. I don't even have an email list. And I actually didn't have an email list when I started getting paying clients. And I was collecting emails, but I wasn't doing anything with them because I didn't know you're supposed to do anything with them. But I didn't have an email list. And it's a tool. You want to grow your email list. But if that's not where you're at, it's not required to get paying clients. You can get paying clients from this event right here with all the beautiful things that you guys spoke in the room. We're like, oh, that's the stylist lady. That's the lawyer lady. Oh, that's the artist. That's the writer. Use this community. You don't have to get stuck with the marketing materials. That you can get clients without being pushy and salesy. So I just want to say two things about being pushy and salesy. Part of the reason why someone hires an expert, so that's whether a coach, a guide, facilitator, stylist, whatever you are, is because they want you to push them past where they can get on their own. So you guys come to the Hivery because you want to be pushed past where you are in your house by yourself or in a cafe at Starbucks to be pushed. But you don't want to push someone against a no. Like if they're an actual no, then you're violating them, right? But does anyone in here do yoga? So have you ever been in a yoga class where you think you can only stretch this far, and the yoga teacher comes and they just slightly place their hand on you because they see that you can stretch a little bit more. They're not trying to hurt you, but they see something that you can't see. So I think it's really important to have a reframe. Like, are you rooting for your potential client, or are you just focusing on the sales? And what makes something salesy is that you're putting sales before people. If people are coming first and sales is second, then you're not being salesy. But in order to have a business, we do have to make sales. If you don't make sales, then it's just something you love doing, which is fine. But you gotta get paid. If you want, if you choose. And so one of the things that could support is just shifting. I'm sure you've had the experience where you've paid people and you've been so grateful for the transformation, for the help. And so I imagine that you are people who've invested a lot in yourself. and people are investing in you for the transformation and expertise that you have. So I'm going to move faster just so that we have time. So I'll just say a few things about the hard way. Initially, it was really hard for me to pick a niche. I was really resistant because I really felt like I'm an actual coach, that I can identify. I learned how to identify an issue, and I could offer them support to take their next step. And so I was really resistant to doing that. And it's really valuable because people can recommend you. And usually when people are looking for a problem, they're like, hey, my back hurts. They're not just saying, hey, I'm Googling wellness. They're like, how to get rid of back pain. So the more specific that you can be, the more specific, the easier it becomes for people to find you. I already shared that, so I'll just stumble through this really quick. One thing that I did was that I kind of made passive offers. And so we do this all the time. It's like, and this has happened where I've been like, hey, I need that service. And the person is just like, because they might not be comfortable with selling, they'll either say, okay, yeah, we can talk about it at some point, or they won't say, like, hey, did you want to book a consult so we could see how we could explore this further? Or like, if that's something you want to do at some point, let me know. And so let me use this example of dating. If you were dating someone, or you wanted to date someone, and they were like, hey, we should hang out sometime. Okay, we should hang out. Yeah, let's hang out sometime. But they were never like, Friday at 3 p.m., let's go to the movies. You'd be like, are they like really serious? Or are they just pretending to like me? That's kind of what you're doing when you do that. You're saying, and you do this with friends too, right? We should hang out sometime. And maybe you do have the intention, but when it's loose like that, and you don't have a formal time to speak, it usually doesn't happen unless the person's incredibly motivated. But keep that in mind. And endless amount of time processing fear, self-doubt. And I know everyone in here, I imagine, is that you work really hard on yourself. So it could look like, why do I feel like this? Maybe it's because of childhood. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't explore that, but sometimes we just have to do the scary work of like, okay, I'm in front of a room full of people, and like, there's a breakthrough that comes from that. And I'm going to go through these 3 secrets very quickly. Okay. So secret number 1 is that it's possible to make $1,000 to $5,000 or more, adapt it to your industry, having one conversation with one person. So oftentimes people feel like you need to know a lot of people. And so if you're thinking about it as just like, I just need one person to say yes to my offer, like, do you see how much pressure that takes off of you? That it's not like, maybe there's someone here at the Hivery. Maybe there's someone at my child's school. Like, there's probably already someone you have in mind that you feel like your service would be incredibly beneficial to. Secret number 2 is that you don't have to wait to be anointed by someone else as an expert. You can position yourself as an expert. So oftentimes, I have seen that people are waiting for someone else to say, or you need to be on someone else's stage, or you're looking for that thing to be edifying. Like, I've written a book, I've done a TED Talk, now I can do it, right? And secret number 3 is that you don't have to have everything figured out before you start getting paying clients. So I'm sure you're getting the theme here. One of the things that we talk about in coaching is this idea of I have to do this first and this second. And it's really important to do that inquiry to find out if that's actually true. Do you actually need to do the thing that you think you need to do first in order to get the result that you want? Does anyone have any questions on this? Yes.
I do. The expert part. In a time where everybody claims to be an expert just by creating an Instagram account.
Yeah.
What are the clues or the the aspects of it that we should be mindful of when we're thinking about this.
Yeah.
You know?
So I would say is to focus on who your ideal client is and who you want to address, right? And you're right, in this age, like, and especially with the coaching industry that's not regulated, like anyone can put up an Instagram website and say, I'm an expert at this. But your work will actually demonstrate your expertise. And that can be in the form of videos, in the form of blogs, in terms of workshops, in terms of speaking. And so people can feel and see your content and the actual value that you provide. And so another thing I'd say about that is you don't want to look at Instagram. I have to make a splash on Instagram. Like, no, I'm trying to reach a specific person and she might be on Instagram. She might be at the Hivery. She might be at my child's school, right? So do you see how just even that difference of like Instagram to like I'm speaking to Charla. She's 35. She just had a baby. She doesn't want her partner to touch her. You know, how can I communicate to her? Right? So do you see the difference? Like, so you're going from anonymous to incredibly specific.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did break this down, but I'll just tell you quickly, the first time that I got paid, my first coaching package was $9.97. And I won't read off the slide because I don't need to. So the way that I found her, we were in a women's group, and I thought that these people were my peers. They were. You know, some of them we had been in a program together, and I just felt like we're friends, we're peers, they wouldn't buy from me, or they don't have money. So we do all these kinds of charades, like, you know, oh, well, she's not working, she's at home with the kids, she doesn't have money. It's like, you don't know what people have. You know, sometimes that same person is going to Europe every 6 months. Do you know what I mean? But we make all these judgments about people. So one of the people on the circle, she wanted to be a coach. And I did a consultation with her. And I find that most people find their work the easy part. So whether that's delivering your expertise, your sessions, but then when it comes to making the offer, that's the part where people just kind of like do that dance, right? And this first time, I was talking to her, we were having a great session, and then I was feeling really nervous about making her an offer, so I stood up and I'm walking around the room, trying to get the energy moving, and she signed up. And I did that imperfectly, even though I thought she was my peer, even though I thought, I don't know what I thought, but I thought she would not be a client, and she was. And so the whole point, moral of the story is that once we can get out of the way, like all of your stuff out of the way and just be present, it's like she thought that I could help her, and we worked together. So I just have a slide here that says breakthrough, because that was a breakthrough for me. And anytime you get paid for your services or the next level, so like maybe you're comfortable getting paid here, but then someone pays you here, then it's like you're setting up a new like set point for yourself.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So I did a team building event and they paid me a lot. And then I've gotten calls from other people that want to do team building, and I say, you know, I always ask what their budget is, and then I say, well, you know, this is what I've been paid, and they're like, whoa, I can't afford that. And then a lot of people don't sign up. And then I'll say, you know, I'm flexible, let me know what your budget is, you know, I'm happy to work with you. But, you know, even if I call them again and just say, hey, I'm just checking in to see if you want, you know, are you interested, they think of me as like I'm way up here.
Yeah. So sometimes we're just talking about rates, we also need to talk about the concrete benefits. Like, and sometimes we get confused with the features and benefits, right? So like the features of me coming to talk to you is I'm going to give you a great presentation, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to bring my art projects, I'm just making this up, right? But you really want to, one of the things you talked about earlier was really deeply listening, like why do did they contact you in the first place? So it's really important, like you could have some preliminary questions before you even get on the phone with them so that you're not wasting lots of time. So you're getting really clear on what would be the benefits if they resolved whatever issue by you coming there to their company. So maybe their team is going to perform even better. Like getting really specific about what the benefits are in their language so that they're seeing, I'm not just going to help you lose weight. You're going to feel incredible in your clothes again. You're going to love what you see in the mirror. You're going to only spend you're going to save time. Save time, save money. Those are always hot buttons, right? Especially when you're talking about to companies that I'm going to save you this much time and I'm going to save you this much money. So by investing in this, these are the concrete benefits that you're going to get. So sometimes, and I get sometimes you can't get people back on the phone, so it might be that they're not an ideal client, but even just having those preliminary questions beforehand, before you get on the phone, so you're not wasting time, and even just say like, packages start at this amount. So they have a ballpark about what to expect.
You know, in her example,
Yeah.
I would be feeling, okay, I'm being a little hypocritical. I'm calling them back to say, oh no, it's okay. My value really isn't this. You can get me for that. I feel like I'm backtracking to some degree on what I've put out there initially. So it feels a little inauthentic to me, and I don't know whether or not it will also land on somebody else being that way. And so sometimes, you know, it's like, you know, when do you kind of stick to it? Like, no, this is really what it is, and I'm willing to wait it out for a few months because I need it to be that way. Or, I kind of need a client right now, or I need a testimonial, or, you know, whatever. So I'm willing to do that. But I find there's a tension, and there's
absolutely.
Practical tension as well as an internal tension.
I think there's definitely a dance, and it depends where you're at in your business. You might be in a place where you feel like earning feels really top of mind for me, and so maybe this time you're willing to do that. And so like all the benefits you get aren't always financial. Just like you said, it might be a testimonial. It might be work experience. So I feel like it's a personal decision. Like as a business owner, you get to decide. You might decide like, hey, you know, I allow this number of scholarships for my program, and that feels resonant with me. And for someone else, it might not. So I think it's absolutely, I think you know.
I mean, part of it is, and I don't know if this is really true, but say that I decide I'm going to focus on this kind of client, right? And I talk to that person, and then say if it was like part of a community, right? I've identified this community. Well, if I told this person this, and then they say, oh, you know, Anita was suggesting such and such. Oh, I got a different story from that. Or, oh, she was willing to do this for me, you know. You know what I'm saying? So that there's that, so there's that concern that as you're kind of mining a pool of people that you think is a great starting point, or where it's going to be the richest opportunity, you know, how do you stay consistent with that?
That's a great question. So one thing that I would say is that you have the opportunity to increase your prices whenever you want for a lot of things, right? Like things, maybe you're investing more in advertising. So you could always explain like, hey, prices, you know, give people time and say in 3 months, you know, I'm offering, you can, you know, say in 3 months, this is what it is now. I can't promise you that these rates are going to stay the same. And we increase rates because maybe your rent has gone up. You have all kinds of costs. So you like if you increase your rates, my rates have gone up. My time has become more valuable. And so it's less worth it to me to drive all the way to what have you to do this. So you can change your mind. Yes, Janet?
Something that stands out in this example is just because one customer is willing to pay, I mean, I've been paid like crazy money for a consult, but I don't then make that my benchmark for every consult, because otherwise I'm probably going to rule out 95% of the people in the marketplace. I kind of have to know what the market will bear, and I have to know whether I'm willing to market myself as that person who is the consultant to the stars, you know, only the people who have the really deep pockets. I mean, like, there's plenty of people in Mill Valley that pay $350 for a t-shirt, but if I'm manufacturing t-shirts, that's a really conscious decision if that's the market that I'm gonna go after, because I know I'm ruling out most of the marketplace by doing that. So I kind of had this, like, what does it cost me to produce something? What do I think the value is, and what kind of client do I want to go after? And then I had I don't charge less than this ever kind of rate. And then I look at the individual job and I say, you know, what am I going to provide, and what do I think is a reasonable cost for it? Otherwise, you know, you're taking that top number and
right. Thank you for adding that. All right. You guys are too enjoyable. It's going so fast. I'm like, how is it already 1:40? So we went over that. I had a few testimonials, but I'll just share one with you. I think she's a good one. So this is my client, Melanie. Before we started working together, she was looking for a job with a law firm, and she had some part-time work, but it wasn't sufficient. And she had had a law firm in the past, and she felt like because she closed that down, she was holding it as a failure, right? And so in her mind, she was having this, you know, it's gonna cost me a lot of money to get started. It's gonna take a lot of time. So that can be a thing that we tell ourselves, it's gonna take a lot of money or a lot of time or a lot of whatever, a lot of energy. And she said that she wanted to start her own practice again, and it helped her build her business around solving one problem for one client. So she was actually really passionate about sexual harassment. And she loved those cases, but for some reason there was some resistance to being like, I'm only gonna focus on that. And she took immediate action, and she started, like, I remember she enrolled her first big client, and she hasn't stopped since. And it's like when we started working together, she was, in her mind, it was gonna take a year. It was gonna take $50,000. And so I just bring this up to just think about, like, what are you telling yourself about how long it's gonna take? And what you have to do, and actually do the inquiry to find out if it's actually true. I was gonna do another spring cleaning. So I'll just walk you through this 9-step process. So one of the top questions that I get is, how do I get paying clients? So I'm just gonna tell you these 9 steps. So it's decide. You're probably like, well, why is that a step? Because there's a difference between when you decide that you're gonna lose weight and you're like, maybe 2020 will be the year, right? Like, there's a whole different way that you show up. Identify your unique niche. Who do I help? How do I serve them? Host a promotional event. So there's so many things that you could do. I know Kristen was talking about doing a video the other day. It could be a workshop. It could be speaking. It positions you as a leader and as an expert. Make an offer. It seems self-explanatory, but you'd be amazed how we miss these steps. Schedule a time. That seems self-explanatory, but the truth is sometimes people don't schedule a time. So it's like if I were to run into you in the grocery store and was trying to have a conversation with you while it's too much going on. So like honoring that time, and you're allowing people to treat it as something professional. Because when it's kind of casual, it can be treated as something kind of casual. So you're going to deliver the session. If it feels like a fit to continue working together, you can present your unique solution. And then this is really important, is that you ask, would you like to continue working together? Would you like to explore this further? Would you like to get started? Some of you might be great at this. When would you like to get started? But sometimes it doesn't happen. That seems so obvious. Because remember in junior high, I used to be like, check the box if you want to go with me. So you got to ask them if they want to go with you. And then if they're a yes, you accept payment and you have your new client. So if you want that PDF, I'm happy to send it to you. I could also leave it up and you could take a picture of it on your phone. I have a video that goes along with the 9 steps. If you want that, you can just go to blumentu.com/, am I in the way? blumentu.com/9 steps. You could also take a picture here later if you don't want the video. It also has the transcript of the video. So I'm going to skip this. And I have an offer for you. It is a Client Creation Queen consultation for those of you that would be interested in talking with me one-on-one for a private consultation where we'll look at where you're at in your business right now. What do you feel like are the blocks that are holding you back, and some concrete action steps that you can take to move your business forward. So the value of that's $400, and I don't think I have enough sheets, but if you want one and you didn't get a sheet, come and talk to me, and I will we'll book you a consult if that's what you want. So I'm going to pass this out. So before I move on, I'll just make sure everyone gets one. So some of the clients that I've worked with all kinds of coaches, relationship coaches, doulas, yoga teachers, herbalists, photographers, investment bankers, health coaches, and more. And I just wanted to say a quick thing, because I feel like there's some places that we might have in common. Not everyone. I can be intimidated by technology. Is there anyone here that's intimidated by technology? We got a savvy group, okay? Yeah. I sometimes feel shy or nervous to put myself out there, but I feel committed to my calling. And I had a really amazing teacher that said that your fear just has to be at 49%. Right? And so I'm committed to courageous action. I too don't want to be salesy or pushy, but I do want to share my offering and my services. And I want to push my clients to do things that they wouldn't do on their own in a loving way. And so we talked about that shift, salesy or pushy. You want to be around people that are doing more than you. That's probably why you're at the Hivery. You know what I mean? Or so you could be in that energy of momentum. I don't want to share all my business on social media. I used to have an alias name on social media. Because I have a business, I've really learned to put myself out there in ways that I might not have if I did not have a coaching business. I started out with 3 to 5 women in my living room, in my tiny apartment in Los Angeles, and booked clients that way. And I didn't have a niche figured out for years. And despite all of the things that I just wrote on there, I've still been able to get paying clients. And I know that you can too, or get more if that's what you want. And how should we close out? I want to know what you're walking away with. And we're going to do this like this. What are you walking away with, Kristen?
Why do I always have to start?
Because you're left. I feel bad for the person who's on my left, because it's always left to right for some reason. It feels unnatural to right to left, yeah.
I think what I'm walking away with, which is something that I know but I constantly need reminding, is that all of the same nonsense that goes inside my head seems to be going on in other people's too.
Yeah.
So that I'm not alone in that, and that's not holding other people back from sharing their calling or their services with other people. So I shouldn't let that get in the way of me doing that either.
Woman.
I am deciding that I'm going to get paid for my services.
Excuse me.
Definitely more clarity on how to finish the sale.
I just wrote a new little goal for myself. So I made it much higher.
Yeah. I love learning more about you, and we feel really excited about who you are more and more, even though I'm already so excited about that.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking a lot more about the idea of being pushy versus just helping people. And also the thing about working with the why first. I'm coming away with a lot.
I think that, you know, what you described with Instagram and sort of this like, oh, I gotta let everybody know, and really instead just pulling in on, well, what is your ideal person? And go at it from that way as opposed to this really large.
I'm walking away with huge respect for you. So I just like watching your journey and everything that you've done. I really can relate to a lot of it, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. And then my key takeaway is on niche. You know, really developing my own niche market. So thank you.
I'm going to start charging for my work instead of giving it away, which I've done for many, many years. I'm also going to have a business plan figured out before I meet with you. Try.
And you don't have to figure it out before.
Okay.
Even better.
I think what impressed me the most is your take on what sales is about. Like, it's really about connecting to people and making sure that you can offer what they need, what they're looking for, right? And if we are focused on that, it's hard to be pushy or to say so. And I'm happy to meet you.
Likewise.
Gratitude for your time today and your offering, and excitement to get to know you further, as well as everyone here. Thank you for all being here.
Well, I think it's always inspirational to hear you speak, so happy to be here. And I think probably just taking my own advice. I feel like I was just encouraging one of my friends about something last night, and it actually applies to me, but I don't necessarily do it. So I think a lot of what we talked about today, like when I hear other women speak, I'm always like, oh my God, you're amazing. And then when it comes, and I'll reflect on it, I'm like, wait, why am I so willing to do it for everyone else? So I think it's a good reminder to surround yourself in these with other women.
By the way, Nicole's my sister-in-law and an amazing auntie. And I think that that's the value, because we need other people to do it for us. Yeah, because if you're in here, you're doing that for everyone else, and you need people to pull that for you. Be like, Nicole, what are you talking about?
I know.
Thank you.
Sense of community and empowerment.
And I love the atmosphere that you've created here, and the exercise. For me, it was stuff that I kind of knew, but it brought it brought it out more forcefully and clearly in terms of recognizing the client and taking the action and not worrying about all this other stuff, but what's the core thing that I really need to do first? You know, what's the most essential thing? So it's helpful.
Thank you.
Some clarity on some of my hang-ups that I already know that I have, but additional clarity, reminders of the good stuff that I already know. Thank you for bringing it up and through the way that you do, and encouragement that I needed.
Carrie.
Just that I'm continually, as I'm starting this business, because I haven't even been open a year, that just to really, I started here, like I'm gonna do kids, adults, workshops, team building, everything, and I'm just getting narrower and narrower, and so that goes back to your Instagram metaphor, and then also, Janet, thanks a lot for that minimum amount to charge. That's a good way to look at it.
Thank you. So much. I kept writing down I have to follow up with this person and this person. It was just coming up for me while you were talking, and the flirtation concept of like just the connection, and also the concept of if you put sales before people, like nothing is really going to happen. And so I think I know that, but I just needed to hear it in a different way. And so, yeah, I also thought the pricing questions were super, super helpful, just to kind of reframe.
You're really good at flirting, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
You should check out her website. It's really amazing. Yeah.
I loved the workshopping as well. I thought that was fun to do the pricing thing. But I really loved that you spoke to like just the techniques of breaking out of that procrastination excuse of not getting behind. That it's powerful. It's something that I hear and then I shovel it and pretend like it doesn't exist. And then it was great to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a lot out of it.
do it, and I'm excited for my consultation.
It was a great reminder for me about how much I overthink and overcomplicate the process of finding clients. And I've got a list of 20 people who want to hear from me, like to put off fixing the website and just email them. And I also feel a little bit like a proud mama.
You're amazing. I'm so proud of my coaching education. Like I feel so great. And you already went. Okay, Allie.
Oh, I love the concept that your clients are closer to these things.
I really liked hearing how it all related to everyone's different jobs and hearing what everyone does and how one little thing can connect to everyone, including myself, and I'm not really looking for clients, so it still somehow worked for me too.
Awesome. Well, I have so enjoyed spending this time with you. I have a little feedback form on the other side of the consultation form. So if you wouldn't mind taking a minute or two to fill that out, I would so appreciate it. And I'll be here for a little bit if you have any questions. And people really do need your services. I didn't get through all my testimonials, but what I wanted to share about that is that you're probably getting testimonials all the time, formal and informal. And to start writing those down, because there's a way where I think I used to feel like I'm taking money, right? And it's just like, you're not taking anyone's money. So there's a woman here who, she was on her friend's couch. And so you would think the last thing she should be doing is signing up for coaching, right? But she was just in a place of, I need to do something different. And she got 7 clients. And so like when I look at her testimonial, that was not taking somebody's money. That was literally teaching them some skills that they could have so they could break this pattern that they were in. And so oftentimes I hear people feeling that, like, I'm taking someone's money. So like get into right relationship with what are you offering someone that's gonna help them with their relationship, their life, their health, their whatever. Anyway, I love you, it's been fun. Come talk to me if you like.